All right, so today we are going to discuss regex. We're just going to treat the basic and you can study more on your own. So what is a regular expression? Regular expression is simply a sequence of characters that form a search pattern. So remember when we were doing JavaScript string, we can search for an existence of a particular string inside a string. You can search for a substring within a string. So if we want to check the existence of st, for example, you can do a.search and pass in the string that you want to look for. And this will return the index of this string that if it is found. When you run this, you get 0 because st is at the beginning. If we look for in, for example, you get 3 because that is where this in position is. If you search for something that doesn't exist, you get a -1. Okay, so now regex just represents this pattern of what you want to search for. It can be simply as this, but with regex, you can make more complex search term to search your string. So it's not just a word or a simple string like this. You can use regex to make some complex search pattern, okay? So when you search for data in a text, you can use this search pattern to describe what you are searching for, okay? So as a regular expression, it can be a single character or more complicated patterns, all right, which we are going to be looking into in this class. So regular expression can perform all type of search. So no matter what you're looking for, you can use regular expression to describe the pattern of the item you are looking for. Maybe you don't know the actual word, but you want to select pattern of a word formation, then you can use regular expression to achieve that. You can also use it to replace. Remember string replace. For example, if you want to replace in with something else, you can search for in and replace it with maybe anything at all using replace. Same way, you can also use regular expression to look for what you want to replace and pass in the replace text also like that. You see the output here. This is, you replace the in with HH. The same you can use regular expression to do, okay? So enough of the talking. Let's take a look at regular expression syntax. All right, if you want to write a regular expression, you start with the /, then put in all your expression, then followed by /. All right, so this is a regular expression. So remember I told you that regular expression can be a character or complex search pattern. All right, so let's start with a single character first. So the same thing we did here, we searched for in inside a identifier, which we saved as a string. So if we do this, you see we get 3, okay? Now let's change this into a regular expression. So remember I told you if you want to write a regular expression, you start with / and close it with /, all right? So when you type something in here, this becomes a regular expression, okay? So we want to look for in. This is the search pattern. All right. So this one is the simplest form because it's just a word that we can understand. It will get more interesting later. All right. So you see that the results remain the same, 3. All right. So this is a regular expression. Okay. Now, this is all searching just single word. So string in a string. Let's put more words here so that we have more stuff to work on. So if we do this, it will return 3. Remember that search returns the index of the first occurrence of this search item. So this is the first time it occurred, and that is why it's returning 3, even though I increased the text, and you still see more IN here, more IN here, okay? So that is using word as your search pattern, all right? So now, regular expression is more interesting because it provides you with a modifier. Modifiers are the things that, tells how the search should behave. So for example, we have a modifier I, and this is where you put your modifiers. So after the closing of the regular expression, you add the modifier at the end. So this is the modifier. This modifier modifies the behavior of this search. So this I means that the search should be case insensitive, okay? So if we do this, you are going to get, of course, 3, but imagine that this I is in capital letter. If we run it as before without the modifier, your position is 7 because it doesn't see this as equal to this because the I is in capital and the I we are searching for is in small letter. So it's going to return the position of this first occurrence, all right? And it's going to skip this one. So if we want to search for this one using our regular expression pattern, we can modify this query with I. So I means you should search and return anything that matches this, irrespective of the case. Okay, so even capital letter will behave as small letter. Okay, so with this, you're going to get 3. So it's going to return the position of this one. All right, that is for this modifier. Now, regular expression also have more modifiers. This is not the only modifier that is available, okay? So regular expression also have G. G means global. You should search and return all the occurrence in the search string, all right? So it's not just going to stop at the first occurrence, it's going to proceed. Now remember that we removed the I, and now it is returning 7, okay? So if we add the I, even with the global search, it's going to return 3, okay? Because this is the first occurrence. So global search is not going to search for only beginning, it's going to search the whole string. So remember that I have introduced I, and there is G, which is global matching. Now this one is because of this search method is returning just the first index, because this one just returns index. If you use it in other operation, it's going to return you more than one string, like using match, for example. So you see, when you do match, you see that it brought all the results wherever IN is occurring. Imagine that we remove the global and take a look at the result. It only returns 1 with the information of the index, okay? So global search gives it the modification to search the whole string and return every instance of your search pattern, okay? That is for G, all right? We also have M for performing multi-line matching, all right? So if you want to search multiple lines, not just one line of string, if you have like a page that you want to search for something, you probably need to add the M. So if you have noticed, you know that I can write all the modifiers one by one here. So any of the modifiers can be applied individually, or you can apply more than one, okay? These three modifiers can all be applied. So, and they will operate individually, okay? I is search for case insensitive. If you add the G, it means search for case insensitive and also search the whole string, okay? When you add M, it simply gives it more modification to say search even if the texts are in multi-line, okay? So this is not like one, this is three modifications we have given to this search pattern, all right? So now I told you that regular expression can be more complicated than just putting a single word, all right? It is a search pattern. When they call it pattern, it means that there are some unique characters that we can use to build up our regular expression pattern, okay? So one of those pattern is square brackets, like this. The normal square bracket that you use to access value in an array, you can use it also to modify your search, to create your search pattern. So whenever you have these brackets, the brackets are used to find range of characters. We can use this bracket to search for range of characters, okay? We can say, for example, A to Z, okay? Match A to Z. This one we match any character that is between A to Z, all right? So if we run this, you get 0 because this S matches this search pattern. Now, the only way to prove this, let's use match again. And this time, we are not going to put global. So this match is going to return us the first encounter of our search pattern, all right? So if we print this now, you see that the search that matches this query is S. Why does it match? Is because S is within this range. It's between A and Z. Imagine I said, okay, I want to look for word between W and Z, for example. Now let's run this again, and you'll see that it captures W and not S, and the index is now 19. So all these characters here are not within that range until this place, when it hits the W. Let's look for number between 0 to 5, all right? So if we run this, of course, it's going to match blank because of this space I added. So let me take that out. So you look at this now, it matches 2 because 2 is between this range. So imagine I increase this to 4 to 5, then it's going to match 5 because 5 is what here that is within the range, okay? So bracket is for searching for, with range pattern. So this IN, writing a string pattern like this means the word, you are searching for this word and you want it to be case insensitive, all right? And that's why you get your in here as the capture and index 3. So, but when you put this in a square bracket, it's no longer in, but IN. So you mean I and N. So if it matches any of this word, it's going to return the index. So if you run this again, you get the same index, but this time it is not IN, but I. So it is I that is the first alphabet to match any of this character. So if you are looking for a word, let's say you can name different letters that you are looking for. For example, you can even put numbers also. And let's put this global so that you see all the matching results. All right, so you see now INW99. You see, any one of these alphabets that exist in this string will be captured, and they are all individual, so they are not words. Okay, so whenever you put your square bracket, know that it is a range of character, which you can either list them out or put them in a range like A to Z. And not just A to Z, you can also do 0 to 9 in the same bracket without separating them. So this will match anything between A to Z and anything between 0 and 9. All right, so this one will basically match all the alphabet that we have, including the numbers. Okay, if you put space, it means A to Z and a space, and 0 to 9. So space is also a search pattern that you can use. Remember that in this string, there is spaces. So if you put space, look at our result. Let's reduce it so that we see the difference. So you see here, you see 2, 3, blah, 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 without any space. But if we add, say, space after the number and we run this, you see that we get space captured. Number, see space. Number, see space. Remember these spaces that are between the numbers and these spaces, they are all captured here as a matching string. Okay? So when you put space, that is also a character. All right. So now, more on the brackets, we also have, here we use the dash to make a range. We can also want to match a character or another character. So if you want to do that, use a bar. So if we want to match 2 or 3, all right, so with the bar, it finds alternative. So if it finds this one, it will return it. If not, it will find this one. This one will match both because we have the 2, 3, and 2 in this string. Let's do something else. Let's say this string has 2, okay? And this one has 5. So now, if we want to find string, but not this string, the one that has 5, let me remove it here so that I demonstrate what I want to show you now. So now we want to look for string. We want to search for string. So remember that if you put string inside this place, it doesn't mean string, but a range. Okay, so we are going to put it outside. You see, we put it outside. Then there is a bracket here because we want to match. We don't want to find just string. Okay, we want to match string that is written with a number. So let me put another string here without a number so you understand what I'm saying. If we take out this bracket and we search for this string, so you see string, string, string. This is 3 results, okay? Now let us add this square bracket. Now, this square bracket is simply saying we just don't want to match a string, but a string with either 2 appended to them or 3 appended to them. All right, so it's going to match this one, but it's not going to match this one because this one does not have either 2 or 3, and it's not going to match this one either, okay? So you look at the result, we only get 2 string. All right, so that is what this one does, is an alternative. You're looking for an alternative. If I don't find 2 string, look for 3 string, all right? But in this case, it found 2 string, okay? And there's nothing else. If we add 3 string here, it's going to match both because the 2 is available. So it's 2 or 3, it's like an alternative. If you don't find 2 string, look for 3 string. And if you find both, match both because we are using global, of course. If we remove global, it's going to match the first one that it encounters, which is this one. All right. So you can also use alphabets, A or B, like that. And when you have a string that has that alphabet, it's going to match it. The same, you can also add multiple chains. So it's not only just 2. You can also say or, 3, or space, or S. You know, anything you can add. These are all alternative. Okay, so it's not going to match everything, but this one is permanent. This one that is outside the bracket, this is permanent. This string must be matched with any of these characters starting it. So if we run this, it's going to match this one because a string exists here, okay? But there is no any other, all right? So if we change this 3 to 2, it will probably match this one also. And you see 2 string and a string, okay? So that is for square brackets. So now we have other characters that are special for regular expressions, and they are called meta characters. Meta characters. So these meta characters, they are characters that have special meaning. Okay, they have special meaning, and you have to know what these meanings are to use them. All right. So we have character like \D is this one, \D. So \D will find a digit. All right, so this \D means find any digit. Okay, so let's use the same string and come here. We want to match. Remember, when you want to write regular expression, you open it with /, write your search pattern and close it with /. If you have any modifier, you add it after the 2 /. All right. This \D, if you do something like this in your regex, it simply means match every characters that are numbers in this string. Match all the things that are numbers. Remember, we add global here, which means go through the whole string and return all the whole matches. So if we run this, you see that it will capture all the numbers. This is the same as doing square bracket 0 to 9. This will give you the same results. Okay, capture anything between 0 to 9. But your digit is just meta character that represents that same thing. So match any thing that is numbers that are within this string. All right, that is what that one does. We have another one. Remember, backward slash and S. So this is another meta character that finds white space characters. Remember, I told you that space also counts as a character. All these spaces we have between words, they are all characters. And this backward slash S is a symbol to locate all those characters. So if we change this one to S, it's going to match all the spaces. And if you run this, you see that there's a list of empty spaces here. Okay, that is what backward slash S means. You can combine meta characters together. Say we add backward slash D, is going to match all the spaces and followed by any character. Okay, so do not mistake this for look for all the spaces and look for all the characters. This is not what this will do. Okay, this will match characters that has space before them. All right, so you see here it matches 2, it matches another 2, 5 and 8, and this is because there's a space here before these 2, there's a space here before these 2, there's a space here before this 5, there's a space here before this 8. So this is, remember, this is not in a square bracket, so this means a chain together. So if I put this in a square bracket, it's simply going to do what? Match either this or this. So because square bracket makes it a range. All right, so if we run this now, you will see that it's going to capture all the numbers and all the spaces, okay, individually. So whenever you are using this, think critically what you are trying to match and define your search patterns correctly. If you want to do this and you do the other one, it's going to give you totally different results as seen here. All right. So we have another meta character called backward slash B. And just like this one matches digit, this one matches space, this one matches at the beginning of a word. It matches at the beginning of a word when you put this at the beginning and put the word later. And it can also match at the end of a word if you put the word first and this meta character at the end. So let's do an example for better understanding. So let's assume that we want to look for string, which we have been doing, okay? Now, if I run only this string, I want you to take notes. It matches only 2, all right? So now, let us put forward slash B to it, and you see what happens is null because there is no word here that starts with a string. This one does not start with a string. This one does not, because they all have something appended to them, okay? Now, if we have a word like string, you see that it will match it. Now let's make it more interesting so you know what this is doing. So if we call this stringify, okay? If we run this, it's going to match the string because this word stringify is start with string, okay? But it does not match this one because this one has alphabet before. So it does not start with a string. So when you put the backward slash B followed by a word, is simply going to look in this string any word that starts with this word that you've added here. And the only thing that matches this particular pattern is this stringify, because it starts with string, okay? Now, this is not only used to search for beginning of word, but you can also search for word that ends with string, okay? So if we want to search for the end, you move this from the front and put it at the back. So when you put it at the back like this, is simply going to match any word here that ends with string, okay? So if you run this, you see that it matches 2. And this is because this one ends with string, this one ends with string, this one also ends with string, but because of the case sensitivity, if we put I, it's going to also match this one, all right? And this one and this one. It won't match this one because it does not end with string, but it begins with string, all right? So that is the work of this /B. That is meta characters that we need to discuss today. So we have another symbols called quantifiers. Quantifiers. All right. So quantifiers simply defines the quantity. How much do you need? It simply defines the quantity. All right. So we have the first quantifier is plus. So now, for us to understand this, when we look for S, for example, if we run this, it's going to return SSSS, right? Now, if we add this quantifier to it, say plus, this plus simply means match any string that contains at least one of this character. So this S is the character, and we are saying match either one or more, okay? So it's going to match either there is one S or more characters. So if we run this, it's going to give you, you see, 4. So it's matching either one S or more. If we run S, we are getting the same result, because right now, the pattern is not interesting for us. So let's assume that we said SS. So if you run this, we're going to get none, because no character that has SS here, okay? So let's say we have a string that starts with double S, and we have another string that starts with triple S, and maybe this one starts with 2S and this one 1, okay? So now, when we look for string, you see that this is string, all right? Without the plus, now, this is string, right? Now, if we run this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is fine. But what if we want to match only strings that have more than one S or 2 or 3? What if we want to, and we don't want to like put them together like this and say search for strings? This one will definitely return just 1, because this is the only thing that matches it, okay? But if we do something like this, it's going to match either the one that has 1, the one that has 2, the one that has 3 is going to do that. So you see the difference now. You see string, you see S string, you see SSS string, you see S string. It's going to match either 1 or more. So it's going to capture them. Look at the difference when we just search for only string. It only captured string, 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 okay? But when we tell it with the quantifier plus, it means we don't just want only one S, but some of them might have more than one S. No matter how many, the plus just simply says match either 1 or more. So like this one has 1, it will match it. This one has 2, it will match it. This one has 3, it will match it at the same. And that is why you see SS string, SSS string, S string. So the second quantifier we have is times, asterisk. So this one matches any string that contains 0 or more occurrence. Remember, plus means 1 or more. This asterisk means none or more. Do you understand? So if we put asterisk here, it's going to give us about the same result. You see here, the same result, because it's saying either S is present or not. Okay, so which means if we have a word here called string that doesn't have S, is also going to match it. You see it here, string, because S is more like optional. It can be there, it cannot be there, and if it is there, it can be more than 1. Okay, so the next modifier or quantifier is the question mark. So question mark matches any string that contains 0 or 1 occurrence. Remember, 0 or 1 occurrence, which means is either it doesn't exist or it appears only once. So if you put question mark here instead of the plus or times, this is going to match string or string, but not S string like you see here or you see here. Okay, so if we run this now, you will get string, 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 string. Okay, it doesn't match all the SS. So it's going to only appear once, or it doesn't appear at all. That is what question mark does. So that is the basic of regular expressions. With these characters that I have introduced us to, you can use it to create a lot of different search patterns, okay? A lot of different search patterns. So let's assume that you want to match only this one, for example, and you don't just want to put it like this. You want to match, let's say you want to match any string that has a number appended to it. Okay, now we can do something like this. We want it to start with any digits, okay, and we want to match string. Now this one we match, take a look at this, 5 string. You see, this one has 5 string, but it doesn't match this one, even though it has 2, because this one has double S. All right. So now if you say, okay, we want to match, even if it has more than one S, you add the plus there. These are combination of all these characters that we have, okay? Now it's going to match both. You see now. So what if we say, okay, this S should be optional, okay? Either S is there or not, I want to get it. Now you are going to get this one only. You know why? Because this is the only one that has S and a number. This one has, but it doesn't have just one, okay? So now what if we say plus and question mark together? Okay, would it work? Of course, yes. This will match all the one that has with S even more than one, okay, but they are optional. So for example, if we have number appended to this string, is also going to match it. Number, this is optional, and string. Yeah, this one will match because this one tells you that it can be one or more, and that is why it didn't match our string, because our string has no S at all. You see, that is why it didn't match, because this one is already telling it it must be one or more. All right, so if we do this, then it's going to match this string that we have here. All right, so now you will say, okay, what if we want to match this one also? Okay, then it gets more interesting. Okay, so now we can't just put plus here because it's not working well, because these two will be negating each other. Okay, so what we can do is do something like this. So either it starts with this, remember our or this. Okay, so this is how to change these two regular expressions. You say either it starts like this or it starts like this, and it's going to match both. See, string here is now, the double S is here, and this one is also here. Okay, so this your or is not only in a square bracket like we experienced it here, you can also use it outside the square bracket. Okay, so you can see how complicated this search pattern is, and it can get more interesting. Okay, so let's talk about regular regex objects. So the object just provides us a method that we can call to test for a search pattern. All right, so, and that method is called test. So if you want to test if a string exists in another string, you can use this test to do it. So for example, we can define a variable R and pass it our regular expression. You can put all the modifiers there. And let's say we want to search for IN, okay? Now, not that we want to search for IN, but we want to check if IN exists in this our string, okay? You can do something like console.log r.test, okay? Then you pass in the string as the parameter. When you run this, test will return a Boolean value if the result exists. Let me comment this one. It's not the one printing this. So it will return true if the search pattern exists in this string, and it will return false if it does not exist. So let's say, example, this does not exist in our string. It's going to return false. So this is another way of checking if a string pattern exists in another string, okay? So that is what the object, the regex object provides us. with. All right. It also provides us a second method called exec. Okay. Exec, if you use exec, is going to search a string for a specific pattern and return the found text in an object format. So let's say this in, we run it with exec. Okay. This is the second method, exec. If we run it with exec, it's going to return the captured object, the captured string in an object, you see, with the index present there and the whole string present also. So that's what exec does. Okay. The test, just check if it exists and return true or false. Exec will execute this, and if it is existing, it will return you the result in an object format. Okay, so that is the two methods that regex provides us. It's not a must that you write your regular expression and pass it in a variable before you can call the object method. You can also call it directly, like straight away, console log regular expression in dot tests a, like that. You can do it like this, and it will also work the same way. Okay, so this returns true.